weeks ago, bear with me. But I think I want to start with the subject that I think is on everyone's mind right now, and that's genetically modified organisms and their impact in Americans' health, and specifically its impact on our islands here in Hawaii. And tomorrow I'm flying over to Oahu, and on Saturday I'm going to be doing a presentation with Hawaii Organic Farmers Association at a ranch in Oahu, and you guys can visit my webpage at supernaturalagriculture.com or .net. I think both lead to the same webpage, and click on the HOFA link, and it'll explain the ranch that it's at and how to get there and everything and all that information. But I'm going to be giving a presentation on growing papaya organically. And it turns out that papaya is the only genetically modified organism now allowed on the Big Island. We passed a county ordinance a few months ago, and it was signed, I think, a month ago by our mayor to ban all open-air growing and testing of genetically modified organisms. About time. We have a very conscious group of people here on the Big Island, and quite honestly, I think it was really the residents of Kauai and Maui that really brought this to the fore, because they are really under the gun over there, especially Kauai. And they were only able to pass an ordinance banning the chemicals that they use to grow genetically modified organisms. And they didn't necessarily ban them, they just created setbacks and disclosure deals, saying basically that these chemical companies that created these genetically modified organisms, Monsanto, Syngenta, I think are the two big players, are now forced to disclose to the county exactly what chemicals they're using. And they created a system of setbacks, I think 1,500-foot setbacks around schools and hospitals and residential areas and stuff. And presently, Monsanto and Syngenta are suing the county of Hawaii for this. And there are a couple of bills in the legislature basically saying that any agricultural practice that has been approved can never, ever be disapproved. There can never be any laws against any agricultural practice that is now being tried in Hawaii, which is really kind of weird, because if that was true 20 years ago they passed this law, they'd be spraying Agent Orange right next door to my house right now, and paraquat and DDT and a vast array of other chemicals. People don't really understand what we're dealing with here, and this is the lead-in, and I kind of want to get to my points first, and then maybe we'll get to why are we in this situation. When you think about genetically modified organisms, it's usually presented to everybody. We put a trait into an organism. No big deal. It's just one little trait, and it really does sound Buck Rogers and very futuristic, and really sounds like these scientists, or whatever they are, I call them professors or whatever, the pseudoscientists or whatever you want to call them. They make it sound all glorious and wonderful and really foolproof, and they've got it under control. And with all the problems that affect us right now, especially health problems, wars, conflicts, terrorism, fear, all these new diseases that are affecting our children, all this incredible amount of disease that affect people over the age of 50, and then all the metabolic diseases that are affecting people, and then we see all this suffering around the world. I think it's absolutely reasonable that everybody is looking towards people that they believe are smarter than they to fix these problems. But we're stuck in this Hegelian dialectic, which is the people that we are expecting to solve these problems. I can't honestly believe, because I've been thinking about this and watching it for, I'd say, 45 years now, or at least since the late 60s, that most of the problems that we're experiencing right now, I don't care if it's health problems, I don't care if it's cultural problems, terrorism, all these new diseases that are affecting our children, the high cost of health care, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, we're all created. And I don't know if they were created on purpose or created by people that were just completely idiots, or people that were completely criminal, or people that have an agenda that I don't even have a clue on what that agenda is. I don't have any idea. But we're expecting these people that created the problems And especially in Hawaii, we see this. We see everyone's turning, this is the big fight right now in the Hawaii Organic Farmers Association. Not necessarily a big fight, but what we're seeing, the tendency is to people in power in an organization as important as Hawaii Organic Farmers Association, and any of these groups that come together to create a better lifestyle for people. It could be the Rare Fruit Council, or it could be, Women Against Cancer, it could be a Nurses Association or anything. We're going to look to the government or people that have the capital and the wherewithal to basically help us fix these problems. And unfortunately, we're at the point now where we can't do that anymore. So in HOFA, they want to see somebody, an organic liaison, let's say in the ag department of the state of Hawaii. And my feeling is why are we going there? And this is one of the interesting things we're going to be talking about. When we have a mailing list of close to 40,000 people that are interested in organic food. Organic food is the fastest growing segment of the food industry, growing by at least 4 or 5 to 10% every year. More and more people want organic food, especially as people learn about genetically modified food, because the industry that creates genetically modified food refuses to label. The only place you're for sure possibly getting genetically modified free food would be something that has an organic certified label. Unfortunately, that's forcing people to actually have to buy very, very expensive food I think people should be allowed to buy food that is healthy, and people should be allowed, and it should be affordable. And this is where I want to get to, because we can't fix it from the top up. We have to fix it from the bottom up, the top down. When I talk about cheap food, cheaper organic food, obviously, if everybody was eating organically, and it was the only way we could eat, organic food would be cheaper, because the organic people wouldn't have to go through all the hassle of certifying, of being inspected, of having to keep records to prove that they're not using chemicals. I don't have any idea how that works. All these added costs that go on to the production of organic food before you even put a seed in the ground contributes to this high cost of the organic food, but yet we still see huge consumer demand. There is not enough organic food right now available for the people that want to get it. And a 2-hour show is really hard to explain this.
Well, it's an interesting seesaw, because it's like, on the one hand you have the GMOs, and that basically creates almost a need for the organic. Not a need, but I think it will inspire people to cross over into organics a little bit more, thereby driving up the demand on a limited supply. Common economics says that the prices will therefore go up. So I'm wondering if the GMO impact isn't having, some impact on.
Well, it's having actually a huge impact. Let's say just on papaya. When I was growing organic papaya, I was getting 45-50 cents a pound. This is back in the early 90s. And I was consulting actually in 92, 93 for some of the larger papaya growers in Hawaii, because they were really having a lot of problems. And a lot of this presentation I'll make, and actually you can go to my webpage. I think we're going to have it up. I have a PDF on growing organic papaya in Hawaii, okay? As long as you can get organic seed, or you can get non-GMO seed, I basically lay it out how you can pretty well grow organic papaya and resist the mosaic virus, which is the reason why they created the genetically modified papaya. And I'll give you all the little hints and shortcuts on how to do that. But now, the minute the GMO came out, and I was helping a lot of growers, and a lot of guys drank the Kool-Aid, and were planting GMO papaya along with their regular papaya, because they just wanted to make sure they got a crop. And they found that that if they couldn't prove that it wasn't a cross-pollinated GMO papaya, they really couldn't sell it. And so the guys that were growing purely organically or purely non-GMO papaya, all of a sudden we went from 50 cents to $1 a pound to the farmer. And that's what the price is now, $1.20 for a pound of papaya to the farmer, which is an incredible price. which is why, and it's kind of an ebb and flow situation, but I'm really, really positive that on a small scale, and I'm a small scale subsistence type farmer, but if you have a small farm and you've got some open sunny land, or if you're just putting in your orchard, or if you have a backyard that you could put in 4 or 5 papaya trees, you have to have them spaced 4 or 5 feet apart, 6 feet apart. If you can do that, you can grow 5 or 10 papayas, at least feed your family, because papayas can be eaten as fruit, can be eaten as a squash, as green, you can cook it, and it's a wonderful squash. You can shred it green, and it's a great papaya salad. The seeds can be used as a spice. The leaves can be eaten as a vegetable.
You can make dressing with it.
You can make dressings and sauces with the papaya seed. It's high in papain. It's usually healthy. It grows into a commercial. It's actually producing commercially within 8 to 10 months. That means if you're planting an orchard, most people are just basically pissing away their money for 3 or 4 years while the orchard's growing. They're doing all the weeding, they're fertilizing, and no money's coming in. And it's just like, you have to have a lot of money to plant an orchard in Hawaii. But if you plant papayas with that orchard, so if you're planting coffee, or you're planting breadfruit, or you're planting citrus or avocado or whatever it is, you plant papayas between those trees, and it's going to come up, it's going to shade your crop while you're doing all your weeding and fertilizing and stuff like that to get your normal trees going. That's all going into the papaya, and at 8 months, you begin to get a return on your land. And I know up at KCOF, while you were there, we did a small demonstration, half acre at below, and I think Richard was taking in almost $1,000 a week.
I have it growing out of my rock walls over here.
Yeah, well, on the eye, it grows like
weeds. I don't recommend you do that at home.
But it grows as weeds, literally. And so I'm very bullish on papaya. I really think any small farmer needs to supplement their to create money. 50 or 100 papaya trees can do it, because I would say there's an unlimited demand in Hawaii for papaya, because we haven't even scratched the green papaya market yet. We haven't even scratched the vegetable market as far as green papaya, and the fresh fruit. It's not enough organic fresh papaya fruit that's delicious and wonderful, and it's always going to be $1 a pound. I mean, this is the crop to grow. And that's the ironic part, is I'm back in the game here now after about 15 years because of the GMO. The GMO's gotten me back in it now because of the demand now that people do not want to eat the GMO papaya.
Right. So what is the status with the non-GMO papaya then? The original reason that they created it was because of, what was the virus?
Okay, well, here's the history. There's a mosaic ring spot virus. When I first moved to Hawaii back in 71, I didn't come to be a farmer. I was born out of the hippie movement. I never really thought of myself as a hippie, though a lot of other people thought I was. I was into natural food. I was into organics. By 68, I was only eating organic. In fact, that's where I first met Richard. I actually was buying fruit from him out of Arizona.
Okay.
I didn't even know him as Richard. When we talked, I realized, and he realized, that I was going down there and buying tangerines from him. He had a Satsuma or something, honey tangerine I used to buy. He had a little, basically just a room that farmers from Arizona would come up and bring all their produce, and it would be in this one big room in L.A., not really a big room, small room, and the fruit was in boxes as they took it off the truck, and we'd go in and buy boxes of fruit and vegetables from these organic farmers. That was the state of the business. Sort of like a co-op. It was very, very loose and very out there, and Richard was there, and we talked about it, and I remember we had the same memories. But, when you wanted to get organic food, that's how you got it. It really wasn't a lot of organic stores and a lot of fresh stuff going on at that point. But the reality is that, kind of lost my train of thought there. But the point is when you want organic food, you have to be able to find it. You have to make a relationship with the farmer. And back then even, the relationship that we had with farmers isn't the relationship we have with farmers now, because